Welcome back, guys, to another video brought to you by your one and only literary pharaoh. I wanted to talk about the great fight that happened this weekend between Lubin and Virgil Ortiz. Now, the card, in my opinion, was horrible. The fights were horrendous. These are the type of cards that does give boxing a black eye. I know a lot of people talk about boxing is coming back, but if we're gonna say that we're quote unquote coming back, we got to do better than that. That card was horrible. All the fights that led up to the main fight was horrible, and the main fight wasn't that great either because it ended so quickly. However, the most interesting part about that whole fight card, including the main event, was the event that happened after the fight when Virgil Ortiz called Boots up on the stage, up in the boxing ring, and called him out. And to me, I just think that it's just the right time for these two guys to fight. And it's amazing how timing is the essence of everything, right? Everyone can have their say-so of who ducked who and who was trying to price themselves out, whatever it is. Some people say Boots was the one that ducked Virgil. Some people said Virgil is the one that ducked Boots, because on the side of Virgil, there was a time when his trainers said, no, we'll be ready to fight Boots in 24 months. And people called that a duck. 24 months means 2 years. Does that really mean he was ducking Boots? Or was there something else going on that required 2 years for Virgil Ortiz to recover? Remember, he did have a grueling, when he was at 147, he was going through a lot at 147. I'm talking about Virgil Ortiz. He almost lost his life. The dropping weight to meet the weight of 147 was taxing on him. He literally almost lost his boxing career. So he had a lot going on psychologically and physically. So maybe he wasn't ready at the time to fight Boots Ennis. And then when we also know when Turki Al-Sheikh was going to insert his hand into the whole scenario and push for the fight to happen, Turki Al-Sheikh, he had an offer on the table for both Boots Ennis and Virgil Ortiz, but then Boots Ennis, I don't know if it's Boots Ennis or it's Eddie Hearn, where his side were like, oh no, we don't want that fight. Not now. I want a tune-up. Then people start to call Boots Ennis the duck. So everyone, whoever you're a fanboy of, I'm not a fanboy of either one. I just love boxing. I love the drama behind the scenes. I love the storylines. I think that what's making boxing interesting now is that we're starting to actually delve a little bit deeper into these individual characters. It's not so much about the boxing as it is about the boxers. I think if you know about the boxers, it makes the boxing a little bit more interesting, because if you know their background, if you know the what they're going through, if you know what their values are, their family dynamic, or if you hear their stories, or if you have listened to anything that they've been through, some of those stories, sometimes in a way, it sort of ingratiates the audience into their boxing career, because you tend to have a connection with that boxer. Maybe you have gone through something that boxer has gone through, and we know that boxing is so symbolic, and that it represents life in essence, because we all get knocked down, pun intended, knocked down, like being punched down, and the ramifications of being knocked down is, what are you going to do after you've got knocked down? Are you going to stay down? Are you going to pout? Are you going to play the victim role? Or are you going to get your ass up and keep going? And that's what the world does. The world is a big heavyweight, and the world has a lot of pressures that it puts on you as a person, and you have to. You're going to get beat up some days. Some days you're going to take L's. Some years you're going to take L's, and some years you're going to take W's. And that's what boxing is all about. Boxing is just a symbolic representation, or a reflection of what life's reality brings to us on a daily. So I think that the timing is right for Virgil Ortiz and Boots Ennis to fight. No matter what each boxer was going through in the past, some people saying that the match is already, the train has passed, the ship has sailed, we need to move on. No, we don't need to fucking move on. I feel that in boxing, there are moments like this that can pass us by. You know, a lot of times we look back at the past and talk about boxing. We talk about, oh, what if this guy fought this guy, or this guy never got to fight this guy. Just like the Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather fight. The fight happened way too freaking late. Like, the fight was so dull. I think that if both fighters fought each other in their earlier primes, oh my goodness, that would have been electric. That would have been dynamite. But we never got that. We got it at the tail end of their careers. And then you have a moment like this, and you're like, you know, people playing politics with Virgil Ortiz and Jerome Boots Ennis. And I'm like, look, guys, both guys are young right now in their primes. Now is the time. Because if the fight doesn't happen next, I don't think the fight will ever happen. Some people are saying that, you know, Virgil Ortiz is to fight Spence. That'd be retarded for Spence to step in the ring with Virgil Ortiz right now, because Spence hasn't fought in like 10 years. And I'm exaggerating when I say 10 years, but the guy's never been the same after those. He's never been the same after those car wrecks and those, you know, emergency situations that he's had. And even though he came back and had a good fight against, I forgot the guy that he fought, Ugas. He beat Ugas, but he still didn't look the same either, even though he beat Ugas. And then, of course, Bud Crawford just finished him out. I think he may be out of boxing, but to come back and fight Virgil Ortiz would be insane. That's a guy that literally needs a tune-up. I know Spence doesn't like taking tune-ups, but I think it's in his best interest to do so, because if he doesn't do that, he's setting himself up for an epic failure, an epic loss, because Ortiz will destroy him if he doesn't get a tune-up. Like, get a couple of rounds underneath you to get ready for a person like Virgil Ortiz. So in my estimation, I do not feel like Virgil Ortiz and Spence need to fight. After seeing what we just saw, after Ortiz finishes Lubin, and you have Jerome Boots Ennis stepping into the ring for the face-off, I mean, guys, if they don't fight, then boxing is retarded. Boxing deserves every black eye it gets. The card was already horrible. We need better fights, guys. And it's not, when I say better fights, I'm not just talking about main event fights. I'm talking about when a boxing card is put together. I think that every match needs to be sought out and designed to bring as much electricity to the arena or to whatever setting that the fighting matches are being fought in. Everything needs to be done intentionally to bring forth interest, because you can't just have a sloppy ass card and then say, well, the main event's going to be the thing that's going to drive this home. No, the whole card has to drive it home. You know, that's what boxing needs. Boxing needs every event to be dynamic. And the card that we saw that I just saw recently was horrible. I mean, I don't even want to go into the details of the fight. If you are a boxing fan and you watch that, you have to agree with me. If you disagree, leave a comment and tell me what you think. But yeah, that's what I wanted to say. I just think that in life, it's all about timing. And yes, maybe in the past, Virgil Ortiz and Boots, you know, the timing perhaps was not right for them to fight. But I think that now, the universe calls for the fight to happen now. The boxing gods have decided that now is the time for them to fight. And to me, they're both at their apex right now. I just think it's very telling that Boots gets in there with Lima and finishes him off in one round. And that Ortiz gets in there with Lubin and finishes him off in 2 rounds. And I think that those 2 fights that each fighter had is the perfect segue or the perfect pathway to raise interest around the boxing world about this next fight that could potentially happen between Virgil Ortiz and Boots Ennis. So I think that the timing is right. You know, before it was a lot of negotiations, but now this guy's just got through fighting like back to back. Boots had his fight about a month ago, and then you have Virgil Ortiz has his fight. Both guys end their fights in epic fashion. So it's only logical, it's only fitting that the gods had it this way, that these 2 guys have to fight next. And if these 2 guys don't fight next, I'm going to be very pissed off. I'm going to be very pissed off. So tell me what you guys think about the fight between Ennis and Virgil Ortiz. And I'm going to tell you what I think can happen if they do fight. Definitely it's a 50-50 fight. You can't call... There's no overwhelming favorite. You know, you can't just say, oh, Boots is going to win, there's no chance for Ortiz to win. Or you can't say Ortiz is going to win, there's no chance for Boots to win. Before the fight, before the Virgil Ortiz fight against Lubin, I like the things that I saw from Virgil Ortiz. He used his jab. He utilized his jab. His jab is much stronger than a lot of people think. He boxed. He didn't just brawl, he boxed. And if you sit in the pocket with a person like Virgil Ortiz, you're playing into his hand. The guy's faster than you guys think. Yes, he may not be as athletic as a Boots Ennis, Jerron Boots Ennis. He may not be as athletic as Jerron Boots Ennis. And he may not have the quick twitch fiber muscles as Jerron Boots Ennis. But don't be mistaken to think that he's just a slow wind-up kind of guy. He's fast. He's not lightning fast with his punches, but he's fast. And not only is he fast, his punches come with power. He's not peppering you. He's hitting you with hammers. But the hammers aren't coming douche, douche. They're not coming like that. They're coming boom, 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 boom. So when a person hits that hard and they have a rate of speed that's fast enough, those two combinations are, when you put them together, those two concepts are combinations that can cause disaster for the opponent because you don't have time to recover. It's boom, 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 boom. All right, let me take this call. I'll be right back. So when the guy's hitting you that hard and his speed isn't slow, that causes a problem. Every punch that Ortiz throws has bad intentions behind it. So that's number one. So I don't think that this idea that, you know, Jerron Boots Ennis is just so slick and he's going to just be quick. No, he's athletic and he puts on a show, but he's not slick. If you watch some of his fights, he gets hit a lot. And I think that's just his style. I don't think that he can ever change that. But I think that he allows himself to get hit so he can hit. A lot of the times if you hear him after the fight, after the post-fight interviews, he'll say things like, oh, I was bored. I know my father in the corner was telling me to use my jab more, but I was bored. So it's almost like he likes the action. He likes getting hit like that. Hey, I'm not the one in the ring. I don't know any boxer that likes to get hit, but I guess he does. Because if he's saying he's bored, that means that he wants to speed up the pace of the fight so there's more action. And when there's more action, that requires people getting hit. More action is not just you punching. More action is you punching and connecting. But he understands that in order for me to connect, I have to allow myself to sit in a pocket long enough for this other fighter to feel confident enough to let his hands go. Then when my opponent lets his hands go, then I can capitalize on my opponent let his hands go, and I can counter, or I can start letting my hands go as well. Hence, more action. So, I don't know. I just think that if Boots goes in there defense on like if he's reckless defensively, because he's reckless. He's reckless. He gets hit too much by fighters he shouldn't get hit by. But then again, maybe he didn't respect those opponents. See, that's what makes this next fight with Virgil Ortiz and Jerron Boots Ennis epic, because we saw a change of style with Bud Crawford when he fought Canelo. Bud Crawford didn't go in there trying to get his lick back, his get back. You know how Bud is. You know, he likes to fight. If you hit him, he's gonna try to hit you back. Bud Crawford was very economical with his punches and very, very smart and intentional. He moved just enough. He didn't move too much. He engaged, moved, engaged, moved. He constantly moved to force Canelo to reset, and that frustrated Canelo. Canelo does not do well with fighters like that, much less a southpaw fighter who's moving around a lot. So I just think that in order for anyone, if anyone thinks that Jerron Boots Ennis can keep fighting the way he fights and beats Ortiz, you're an idiot. But if you think that Jerron Boots Ennis has enough fundamental tools in his tool bag, and he's able to actually fight a very smart fight and not put himself in position to get hit with too many shots, then he has a chance. That's why it's a 50-50 fight. There's a lot of ifs in there. There's a lot of what if and what if and what ifs. From what I saw from Ortiz versus Lubin, I see a guy that's going to utilize his jab. I see a guy that's going to try to fight off of his front foot. I see a guy in Virgil Ortiz who's going to move forward. So in order for Ortiz, or in order for Jaron Boots Ennis to gain the respect of Virgil Ortiz, he's going to have to hit him. He's going to have to kind of fight him. And you can't outbox a fighter if you don't fight occasionally. This is what I mean. A lot of times people think, oh, one guy is a boxer and the other guy is a fighter. Fighting means that you're more, it kind of denotes brawling. So when I say fighting, I just mean you're just fighting it out. Boxing is more about being technical, you know, strategic. Body shot here, a hook there, a jab there, back up a little bit. You're playing the game within the game. The game is boxing, but within the realm of boxing, you're playing the game within the game of boxing. That's what technical boxing entails. However, there will come a point where that shit has to go out the window, and Jaron Boots Ennis will have to fight Ortiz in the later rounds. And if Boots can't hurt Ortiz, it's going to be a long night for Boots. So that's why this is a 50-50 fight. Tell me what you guys think. Who you think's going to win this fight? I don't know yet, but I'm still thinking on it. All right? All right, peace out. See you guys next time. Peace. Remember, your health is your wealth.